And for many years, the children knew me as Teacher Sandy, and this is my 25th year in Haines, teaching kindergarten, minus 1 year.
And I'm Barbara Pardee, and I came as a single school teacher in 1970 and taught other things, home ec, PE, and raised my children, came back as a team teacher with Sandy, so I've lost count. How many years? I would think it probably went on for 30 at least.
I think so, yeah.
You want to describe the logistics and?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. We did this in the primary building, so we'd have kindergarten, first and second graders, and some years we had third graders. And each of the classes would make a dish. Kindergarten always had an easy job. They would shake the cream to make butter for the rolls. And the teachers would cook a big turkey, and I think the first graders or second graders made pies, made pumpkin pies, and another group made applesauce, and so on and so forth. And then we would all gather in the primary gym where there was enough space for us, and we'd have the day before Thanksgiving, we'd have wonderful, wonderful dinner. And each group, kindergarten, first, second, third, would put on a little performance for everybody else. So the parents from all over town would come and watch, and we'd dress up in, one grade would dress up as little pilgrims, the next grade would dress up as Native Americans, and then Alan Heinrich, our principal, at one point was our principal, we made a big headdress for him with lots of feathers, and all the children joined in and helped do that. So it was a lot of work, but a lot of fun, wasn't it?
Right, and we learned a lot about the history of Haines through the native culture. And one of my favorite memories is when one of the chiefs came in from Cluckwan, and he asked a blessing in Tlingit. And you know, we couldn't pray in school, but he could, because he could speak in Tlingit. But it got so crowded was one of the problems, and we hated it. Sometimes we had to limit it, you know, to certain grades, because the children, when they got to third grade, would want to come back, and they'd feel so badly when we, you know, couldn't let them
join in.
Yeah.
So it was a big deal. It was a lot of fun, and that little kitchen over there was just busy, 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 busy. So.
Yeah. And the parents, we had to have all the parents helping, because there was no way, because we were in control of the classes and the music and costumes, but they had to actually get the food served.
And the tables set up. And
moving lots of tables and things.
Yeah. We were always exhausted as teachers. At the end, we'd sit down at the end and we'd have our pumpkin pie with the whipped cream on top, and we'd just kind of look at each other.
Right, it's true.
So that was one thing we did.
Yeah, very special. One of the things that made team teaching so much fun was the home visits. And I don't know, it's been a tradition in Haines for a very long time. And today, because we have a K through high school building that we all see each other, when I see the older students in high school, what flashes through my mind is the home visit, because it was such an incredibly important time to connect and attach. And the way the children, when they showed us their home, then when they came to school, they weren't afraid to stay with us, because it was, you know, our classroom. So it was like they already knew us. And of course, Sandy was in charge usually of answering all the questions for the parents, and I was in charge of taking the child aside and doing some little assessments so we knew what they knew and how to help them right from the first day. And we've had to fight for that. It wasn't, depending on administrators, some go, well, that just sounds like a week of fun, but you know, what's the purpose?
Yeah, we have had to fight.
Yeah.
For that, but boy, we sure learned a lot. And you know, you certainly don't go in there with your white gloves on. That's not the point. But you learn about the children's animals, which are very important to them, and you get a feel. That I think the parent, we would never force ourselves. That we would always ask the parent, if you're not comfortable with us coming into your home, would you meet us at a restaurant or meet us in the classroom? And
it worked really, really well. Very, very special.
So it's another part of our program. Another part that the children, the students who come back and they end up as student aides in kindergarten, we have the Letter People program, which is probably about a 30-year-old at least program that was developed. And the students, they come back at 17 years old and they go, I remember the Letter People, because they're up on the wall there. And those little Letter People, they're kind of like blow-up dolls, which have had so many pokey pins in them from putting them on the wall. They don't blow up anymore. But there's a little movie about them. There's songs about them. You can actually hold the little doll. And the children today, even though that's an old program, they identify with Munchy Mouth for Mr. M or Pointy Patches for Mr. P. And the sound that letter person makes stays with them because they attach it to that little doll, and it's kind of just a fantasy that they can just hang their little hat on.
They can, and it's as we found out the years you didn't do it, that it was harder for them to remember in the following fall their letters, because it's personal. And one of the fun things is like when you study Mr. V Violet Velvet Vest, we did it on Valentine's Day, of course. And then one mother came in and she played the violin while we opened up our little Valentines and had our cookies and all that stuff. And then another parent loved it so much, the Letter People, that she did a whole puppet show, came in and prepared it with the Letter People. So, parents liked them too. And so you still use them, don't you?
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
I do use them. And I didn't use them one year. The district told me I had to use another reading program. And as Barbara said, that group of children when it came to first grade, they didn't know the sounds as well. So,
yeah.
Well, and there's one more thing that we thought we'd tell about for posterity reasons. And this is a little story of a chinchilla.
It started with my daughter. She had a chinchilla. We got it at a chinchilla farm, brought it home, and its name was Gus. And the children adored Gus. And Gus was very big, fluffy tail, like a squirrel, but little face like a, I don't know, kind of a rabbit squirrel. So soft. And so we had a big cage. And sometimes we'd let the kids build mazes out of blocks. And then the chinchilla would run through the mazes and they'd be go, 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 And one day, a helicopter came to and landed right next door at the AT&T telephone company, and the kids were so excited. And the chinchilla was out in their little maze of blocks, and they ran to the window with a big whoosh and a screaming kind of, ah! And chinchillas throw their fur when they're scared. It's a thing of protection. And the chinchilla had a heart attack. And it was very, very sad. So Sandy and I took the chinchilla in a box, and we took it into, my husband was cooking in a restaurant, and we walked in the door with this box, and we said, oh, our faces were so unbelievably sad. And he thought somebody had died, and he was so relieved to know that it was the chinchilla and not a student or something and anyway, so we got to thinking, by golly, that the helicopter pilot, somebody should pay for this, because it costs over $100 for these chinchillas. You can't get them in Haines. So we took the dead chinchilla in the little shoebox, and we went over and knocked on the AT&T's door. And the man that landed, and he happened to be the manager from Juneau, and he goes, yes. And we just looked at him, and he, yes. And we said, well, we just want to show you what you did. And we took off the lid and showed him the dead chinchilla, and he goes, what? And we explained everything. So, and we were, I don't know, were we crying?
We were crying. It was really sad, because the children, there were lots and lots of children, and they were devastated over this little, they ran out the door. First they ran to the windows, and they couldn't stand how exciting the helicopter was, so they ran out the door, which has never happened, and Barbara and I were scared that the children...
You almost lost them because the fence was down in between.
It was a scary day, but then we all came back in and found this little dead chinchillas. So,
So
we
how
were
did we-
crying. We were upset, and so when we went to the man at the AT&T, we were crying.
And so and we told him, we think that you should, your company could afford to buy us another one. We were that brazen, but we were like thinking of the children, and we wanted to be able to tell them that, you know, they were going to be justified for this, you know. So about a week later or 2 weeks later, chinchilla was flown in from Juneau, and I remember my daughter, who owned Gus Gus, she was kind of still miffed because it wasn't Gus Gus, it wasn't, you know, but in time she grew to love it, and the kids, of course, totally loved it, so.
So that was a nice story about that AT&T man, wasn't it?
Mm.
I would say one of the best things is Barbara now teaches reading, is our reading specialist, and I'm the kindergarten teacher. We don't have enough children to have 2 kindergartens, but we had so much fun being team teachers. We're different people, and Barbara was, in a nutshell, the fun idea person, and I was the practical person.
Yeah.
I'd kind of make it happen and say, I don't really think we could do
Yeah.
this, and Barbara would say, well, what about this? And I'd say, yeah, we can do that. So we were a very, very good team.
We've always highly recommended to all teachers, if you ever get the opportunity to team teach, you'll find that it is so much more fun, because even when things were hard, we debriefed before we went home, and so our husbands benefited because we didn't come home grumpy or upset because we had talked it through. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very creative.
Yeah.
So we sure love being in Haines, we know that, and love teaching all the children.
Yes, and we're very lucky to have the kind of school we have, the support. The community is very, volunteers, comes in, help, everyone loves kindergarten. Yeah.
So thanks for this opportunity.
Well, my name's Don Hodge Sr., and I'm really known by my